Hi YouTube. Hi. It's Joel Ellison with Pinnacle Mountain Gunsmithing. I'm coming to you with a brief video about one of my personal favorite guns. Of course, they're kind of all my favorite. I love them all. I don't tell them. Don't tell them I said that. But in any case, I've got a neat little pistol I'd like to show you, and kind of some questions like, what is this thing in this modern world of where all pistols are pretty much identical and functionally the same? Uh, what is this thing? Let's get to it. Okay, today we're talking about the Beretta 81 BB, aka the Cheetah. This was a series of pistols that came out in the 60s and 70s and was, I think, made well into the 80s. This particular one is Italian police surplus. Yes, the grips are aftermarket, which I put on myself. I know I did not make them, but I can get you grips that look like this, or similar, or in any color you want, really. In any case, this particular pistol was Italian police surplus, and it's in 32 ACP. It's a direct blowback, unlocked breech, simple blowback gun. It's simple and it isn't. I'll get into that here in a sec. In any case, inanimate object on the bench. Picking it up, making sure, yep, chamber's empty, and no magazine in the mag well. All right. This particular pistol I really like in that, one, it's very low recoil, it's 32, and two, it's a little more powerful, and plus it's hard to beat the panache of a genuine, actual Beretta. Also, the trigger was really nice. I really like the thumb safety. You can carry this cocked and locked. It also is double action capable, although there is no decocker on this particular pistol, so you kind of have to thumb it down, kind of like that. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, that's why I just carry it cocked and locked and keep it simple. And yeah, let me go ahead and show you how to field strip it. Pull back the hammer, make life a little easier for us. And I'm just gonna push this button in and pull this lever down. Yeah, the button locks the lever. Boom. And with the lever down, as you can see, this slide comes right off. Boom. All right. We also have a non-captive guide rod and recoil spring. And we have our barrel. It comes right out. Now you might be saying to yourself, wait a minute, Joel. I thought you said this was direct blowback. Most blowback pistols like this, the barrel's just directly attached to the frame. What gives? Well, it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. If you see on the barrel profile here, there's a set of rails. And we have a corresponding set of rails on the inside of the slide rails. If we slide that back in there, and ta-da! Now the barrel is pretty much fixed to the frame. That, one, improves accuracy, and two, it also simplifies the design of the pistol, because if you don't need to put a locking mechanism in it, just don't. There we go, that's kind of washing out in the background here. There we go, that's better. But yeah, recoil spring sits down here when it's assembled. And yeah, it's a spring and a weight. It's super simple. Let's see. Our slide here has the all-important firing pin drop safety. It's very important. We have our extractor right there exposed on the side, but still rather sleek. It does stick out a little bit when a cartridge is in there, and that way you can tell if your gun is loaded in the dark or in a dimly lit area. I see It won't. Let's see. This particular gun came with a little bit of holster wear on it. You can see a bit of that up here on the front sight, where some of the bluings were rubbed off, and a little bit here on the rear sight. When I got it, it looked like it had been dropped on the rear sight at one point. There's a massive burr on the left side of the rear sight. I cleaned that up. Have not reblued it because it's just a tiny spot, and like most of my guns, this one also works for a living. I use this sometimes in backup gun matches, and sometimes for bullseye, which can get interesting, especially since this front sight is machined into the slide. So yeah, good luck replacing that. Originally, the rear sight also had, see if I can get that to focus a little better. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it originally had a little tiny area of white paint right down here. I've scraped that away and blacked that out. Just keep it simple for my little brain. That way I don't confuse myself while shooting. Let's see, what else can I tell you about this thing? It shoots really nice. The slide serrations are a little bit low profile, which does aid in holstering and unholstering. Like most police guns, this was carried a lot and shot very little, so it would seem in actual police service. The magazines, strange for a 32, are actually double stack, which is quite an engineering feat in and of itself. They hold 12 rounds, which that's good capacity. 12 plus 1 on board, and if you have another magazine, that's 25 rounds. I don't know how many actual police would have carried, but for my needs, that's plenty. Let's see, the magazines have been, I only have 2 when I bought this. I bought this when these things came into the country, and it was relatively inexpensive. I think about $250 each, which for something like this with some actual history, but you can actually carry, it's a pretty nice deal. At least I thought so. In any case, let's see. What else can I show you about this thing? Let's see. I'm going to take off one of the grip panels. I can show you some of the mechanism on the frame. These screws have really tiny slots on them. Yes, I've pre-selected this particular screwdriver. There we go. Well, I got these replacement grips. They required a little bit of a washer, a little O-ring to take up the extra space in them. Honestly, the original grips were a little fat for me, and it would have been even fatter if these were wood grips, but which, I don't know. That's one thing that you could say about the Cheetah. These are actually pretty nice G10 grips, very grippy, and of course, available in all sorts of colors. All right, let's see. This is actually fairly typical for most semi-auto blowback pistols, especially ones with aluminum frames like this. Let's see, these were also available in 380, which arguably, it might have been better if I had gotten a 380. That way I have commonality with some of the other guns at my disposal, but I wanted a 32, so I got a 32. Let's see, we have our trigger. It's got it in single action. Safety's on. Let's see, the trigger bar, when you pull the trigger bar comes forward, and that, when the safety's disengaged, will trip the sear, which will cause the hammer to fall. It also causes a little, if I take the safety off here briefly, and you can get in close to show you. If I do pull the trigger, it also causes this little bit. Yeah, that is what defeats the firing pin drop safety. Let's see if I can turn it so you can see it. Yeah, the trigger bar can now intercept the sear, which causes the hammer to fall against the firing pin, thus firing the pistol. When the slide comes back, it pushes down on this little nub at the top of the trigger bar. You can see how it's a little shiny. And that nub sits in this little groove in the side of the slide. And once that nub is pushed down, that drops the trigger bar off the sear, and the slide comes back. And I know you can't see through my fingers, but allows the hammer to recock. And when I release the trigger, boom, it's reset and ready to go again. By the way, I'm being very careful not to drop the hammer onto the frame. If you're ever have your own pistol and decide to drop the hammer while you have the slide off, be very careful of that. Don't let the hammer hit the frame, which could cause it to break. It could break the frame, crack it. I've seen that happen. Let's see. Unusual for Berettas of this era, the magazine release is actually where it should be. Sometimes on Berettas of this era, the mag release is down here on the heel, or an actual heel release, which you have to depress a flat spring to pull it out. But yeah, let's see. As we saw a minute ago, the feed ramp on this is really quite a little bit unique. Yeah, so part of the feed ramp is actually here on the frame, and the rest of it is in the barrel. Most modern pistols really have the feed ramp only on the barrel, which aids in consistency. But this makes it a little easier to do a dual slooped feed ramp, where if the round is coming in from the magazine, it hits that initial ramp, then can get a little more gentle of a slope as it goes into the barrel. But yeah, the magazine release can be made left-hand compatible, but I'm right-handed, so I didn't bother switching it. Let's see, what else can I tell you about this thing? I'm going to put it back together, and we can discuss the trigger pull. Stand by. Hey folks, just some thoughts while I'm putting this thing back together. When these things first came to the country, spare magazines were available at additional charge. I bought 2, thinking that's all I would need. Sometimes you wish you'd bought 3, but you live, you learn. It's part of Adventures in Surplus. Sometimes the magazines may not be available again when you want them in the future. See, our barrel slides in right like that. Guide rod and recoil spring. Let's see. There's a little ledge you have to put it on. Boom, and it'll snap right in. Yeah, my key is when the guide rod is pretty much flush with the front of the slide. That tells me it's in there far enough. All right, nice and easy. Just slide that back on here. Make sure the safety's off. Yeah, the safety does also lock the slide. And I'm just getting the back of the pistol, the back of the slide lined up with the back of the frame approximately. And that will allow me to do the reassembly, theoretically. Why is this thing kicking my butt? Hang on. stand by. Something's wrong. Just kidding, folks. Yeah, got it all put back together. Let's see if you wanted to see what that looks like. There we go. I just have to compress the recoil spring a little bit in order to get the disassembly lever back into position. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but the disassembly lever and the trigger bar are both kind of this plum color. That's a result of the heat treating process they're put through, which I find that kind of interesting. I find a lot of weird, dirty things interesting, in case you haven't noticed. In any case, I'll be right back with my trigger gauge, and we can discuss trigger pull. Stand by. Alright, we're back with our Lyman trigger gauge. Ta-da! And here we go with the single action trigger pull. Oop, I guess that wasn't ready. Stand by. £4 0.8 ounces. £3 13.7 ounces. And one more, just for good luck. £4 2.9 ounces. Alright, that puts our average at £4 1.9 ounces. Alright, let's do a couple of double action trigger pulls, which are going to be much heavier and longer. £7 10.2 ounces. Let's go again. £7 9.5 ounces. And smooth. One more time. £8 6.2 ounces. Average trigger pull, £6 5.9 ounces. In discussing trigger, these particular pistols are known for having very smooth triggers. The single action's relatively crisp, and the double action is smooth. Like it's a very smooth. Doesn't stack at all. It's a nice trigger. I'm not fond of double action and single action pistols, but this. I make an exception for this one, especially for that single action. Let's goose that trigger together, and come back a couple millimeters, hit a wall, and boom, there it goes. But yeah, this is quite nice. Let's see. Beretta a couple years ago actually came out with a revamped version of this particular line of pistols. They're in 380 here in the States. They're also, I think, available with like more modern updates like Picatinny on the dust cover down here, things like that. But all in all, it's a really nice pistol. I think the new ones have a built-in decocker, which is nice and does improve safety. But yeah, all in all, these are really nice pistols. Alright. I think that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the comments below. I do try to read those as much as I can. In any case, if you liked what you saw here, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to support our work directly, head over to pinnaclemountaingunsmithing.com, and we have appointments available. We're going live on the website, so it looks like exciting days ahead. In any case, I'll see you next time.